Welcome to the Redlands Bicycle Classic. This is a race in Redlands, California, and it is the first big race of the Team Winston calendar. I would say this was a breakout race for us here in 2025. We've got a pretty good little roster, but first stage was a time trial. We have Owen coming in 8th place. He's about 23 seconds behind on the overall. I came in a non-notable position, but I raced it. So our strategy going into this, which is the second stage, with already a little bunch up in that first corner, is to get Owen into a better position. It's a pretty crazy course. Starting off with a few laps of this circuit where they are going to have points sprints, which I ended up going for. Got right behind one of the first ones, which you'll see, and probably spent a little more energy than necessary. We were also trying to get one of our climbers, Francis, one of our Canadian climbers, into the front group, into the breakaway. We kind of expected there to be a breakaway on this day. Joe Laverick in the leader's jersey. Without a huge team, he's on good guys, and then we have some other riders on like the Legion ecosystem team. So Eder Frere, he's always one to look out for at this race, but you can tell there's Santiago up there. He was in a little breakaway, and there's a lot of weird stuff happening at the beginning of this race. It's a long race. I think it's like roughly 85 miles, and the last 2 hours of it are just a steady uphill up Onyx Summit. And it was hard to tell who was going for what. There's a lot of bigger guys in this race that are kind of going for sprints. Here we are coming into one of the early sprints, and I'm kind of far up, right on Danny Summerhill's wheel, which is a good spot to be in. He is looking trim this year. And then the sprint opens up. Danny gets a little boxed out, but I hopped onto this VFR rider's wheel here and ended up getting like a minor placing for the sprint. I didn't go full gas for it, if you can tell by the power, but I was up there and I got a few points just to see if we could stay in a little bit later, and then I had some energy, so I just went over the top of that into this first corner here with a huge gap, and I would stay off the front for a good bit until I was joined here by Robin Carpenter and another rider. We rode pretty hard for almost a full lap of the circuit before being caught on the backside again, that next circuit. There's more sprints coming, and there's more nonsense coming. You can see on the left there, big bunch up out of that corner. I think there was actually a crash there right behind me, including Andrew Strohmeyer. And then a little bit later here, I'm going to hit it again. Just get off the front as much as I can. Got caught. Project Echelon was here, and they were pulling a lot of stuff back. You see Ethan Crane there. He would just jump on the wheel and then stop working, just trying to keep things together. They have a climber in Ricky Arnapol and Hugo Scala who are going for stuff. You can see Iman Lucas in this race waving over there, taunting probably one of the Legion riders that was on the front, keeping the pace high through this circuit. Another sprint coming up, and I am once again finding myself on Summerhill's wheel into this little chicane area coming into the finish straight. Everybody's opening up their sprints, and I'm right on Danny's wheel again, just kind of winding up a little bit to stay on his wheel. Everything opens up pretty good here, and I figured I could come around on the right. Ended up getting 4th, I think. So 2 pretty okay sprints for me. Once again, we're going to do the old shake and bake over the top of that point sprint. And I think I was joined here by Colby Lang of Project Echelon. He was riding really hard. I was on his wheel, and I was honestly feeling cracked. We're not that far into this race. We're less than an hour into like a 4-hour race, and I have already pretty much blown myself, and I'm not going to be able to help Owen a ton out for this next part, but I have Francis, who is a very good climber, who's going to look to get into some sprints, or into some breakaways after we exit the circuits. So we're getting kind of closer to the end of the circuits here, and it all was kind of together. They had a few riders off the front. I think from Legion, there was a rider or two. I know Ty Magner sent an absolute bomb at the end of the circuits to get off the front and see if he could get a little leash, being on the Legion team with guys to pull things back, but nobody really gave anybody a leash. At the end, there was a pretty good little breakaway. Francis was in it, but that breakaway almost entirely shattered. Until we got into Onyx Summit, which they still had a few minutes of gap. I would just sit on the front, getting Owen as far forward as I possibly could. Then we hit the steeper grades of Onyx. Blazers has just shredded their entire team, keeping Eder Frere up there, and then I pretty much shredded myself into the base. Owen, fortunately, had plenty of energy, and you can see him here with Luke Elphingston of Project Echelon and Kaylor Marshall. Owen had quite a battle up at the front. He bridged a gap to Eder Frere, and then I think Ricky Arnapol was up there as well, and then he came around them and put quite a bit of distance into those guys to take the win on Stage 2 of Onyx Summit. They call this race the race where legends are made. I've done it before with Tyler Stites, and we had such a breakout of a year then. But Owen in first, Ricky Arnapol 22 seconds behind, which put Owen into the leader's jersey of the Redlands Bicycle Classic. Breakout race for our little team, Winston-Salem. For the year. It was insane to cross the line and see Owen had won the race, and both of my legs locked up right when I gave him a hug. So it was over, and we have to go into the next day, which is a hard circuit race with a team that is somewhat undergunned for that, to try and defend the leader's jersey, which is notoriously hard at the Redlands Bicycle Classic. Thanks for watching. See you.